Welcome to another episode of Unpacking. Tonight we'll be delving into the topic of stress. Now, I'm not like Garfield, but I don't really like Mondays. Monday tends to be the most stressful day of the week. Now, this is a very touchy topic for everyone because we all experience stress. But for people like myself, I believe that stress actually makes us better of a person or makes us move further in society. But that's just my opinion. But anyways, diving into it, tonight we'll be discussing the causes of stress, the importance, the fix, having a healthy balance, and learning how to relax. Because these things are very important too. Now, of course, you know the memo here on Unpacking is to agree to disagree. And all of what we say here are not facts, but our opinions. We're just having a simple conversation, just like normal. You've been here for a while, But of course, before I delve into the conversation, I have to ask my lovely host, how are we feeling about talking about our stresses tonight, guys?
I'd like to get some stuff off my chest, yes. I'm very stressed out.
Aren't
Do
we
you
all
like
very
to get
stressed
some
out, though?
stuff off your chest or vape some stuff off your chest? Which one?
Alright, so I'm going to just put this out there.
Hmm.
Once again, I do this because it's work related. It does not help in any way. It's not an addiction, sir. It just does
I
not.
never said it was an addiction. I was just asking.
anything.
Normally it's recreational and it's to relieve oneself of.
But nah. It does nothing for me. Get some stuff off my chest. I think in this case it would be more talk therapy that would work out best.
Talk therapy. And some prayer will do you well as well.
I get a lot of that,
No,
But I might
not
need
get
some
it.
more.
I don't. I'm not saying person's praying for you. I think you need to open up your mouth and lift up your voice to the Almighty.
Funny
So
enough,
that,
whenever it comes
he-
on to praying for something, I never pray for myself.
There.
Sounds like a lot of people.
You need to relieve your stress. Let the Lord know what you're anxious about, what is giving you burdens upon your chest, what you need to relieve yourself of. Let Him know. Speak it to the Lord in prayer, and then He can help to relieve you of said.
Alex is basically saying that Jesus is on the telephone.
Tell him
what you need.
what you want. Thank you kindly. Couldn't have said it any better.
I mean,
Alright,
that would
for you,
get
Josh,
very
how are
long
you?
distance call.
Well,
Well, given the fact that he's
he's
omnipresent, hold on. Given the fact that he's omnipresent, it's not really long distance, it's just right there. I don't know how far that is. It's just
I
right there.
mean, my phone bill going to look very long because, may I tell you, we're going to have a
Toll free.
3-hour
It's
conversation.
toll free. It's toll free.
Don't
Do
have a
not
phone.
worry.
I'm going to
She's
pay
just
for
paid
it.
it off. He paid
Is
it
it
off.
toll free? Is it toll free on the digital flow? Because them kind of tricky with that.
I'm not getting into that one.
But Josh, how are you feeling about discussing stress tonight? How are you feeling about that?
Stress for me is really dependent on the perspective, or not only just the perspective of the person who is enduring said stress. It also has to do with the negative connotation, the negativity that is placed behind the word itself. Don't stress me out. When said like that, there's nothing positive about it. Stress, however, can be beneficial to human beings. It does help with driving us to become better. It can also drive us to madness. So it's really dependent on the person and where it is that they're.
Or the levels are.
Right, and also the levels
balance.
too, because of course it does come at it comes at varied levels in terms of some stress is emotional, some stress is actually physical, stressing out a muscle, and some stress can be both, which I find to be like when you're enduring trauma, that would have been physical trauma, but it also plays upon you emotionally and stresses you out. Yeah. So looking forward to this.
Yeah, man, that's some very good points. And I mean, just with that being said, right there, we can just dive right into that. Now, of course, the pointers that we have here are the causes and also the types of stress. You just mentioned about emotional stress, physical stress, etc. Right? Because we are men, we do not classify certain things as stress is because we believe that, hey, it's to make us better. Do you believe that some level of emotional stress that we go through and decide not to deal with could cause us harm in the future? Does anybody here believe that?
Yes, certainly.
In
Yeah.
what way? In what ways do you believe that not dealing with emotional stress causes problems further down the road? Anything that we may have discussed here, just to refresh our viewers, because of course we've delved into this before. Just to refresh our viewers' palette. What are some of the emotional stresses that we would have gone through and not dealt with it, and it had adverse effects in the future?
Fatherlessness, the loneliness
Yeah.
that comes with that,
Right.
the absenteeism of our male figures within our homes. It does causes some amount of stress that have men, boys grappling with their identity. Who am I as a man? Not even just who am I as a man, but more basic than that. Who is a man? Let's just start with that definition.
Yeah.
So that is one thing. Another stress that comes along the line as well for many boys going through puberty and realizing the changes in one body. Not just boys alone, but of course girls as well, experiencing the first
But I
flow.
mean, honestly, girls go through a whole heap of stress in this period. What do you mean?
Right,
Only
that's what
boys,
I said.
but girls as well.
Not but girls as well. Right.
Yeah, man.
They gotta
But,
understand the cause for the stress sometimes too.
No,
given
you
that I
say,
know,
Alex, Alex, honestly, I mean, prior to some of the conversations we've had here, I will never pretend to think I know what a female goes through. And where it comes to things like, period pains and cramps, and I
Right.
don't think,
So
I
that's what I was
really,
just
I think,
about to say.
I think I can definitively say they have nothing to do with that. Nothing at all.
What? How did I get into this conversation?
No, you're the one that said it. You said that sometimes there's a concept that I'm saying based on the line of what we were talking about. No.
Based on the line of you guys talking about, boys during puberty and the things that they can go through, I'm saying sometimes
Right.
women are the cause of the stress too.
Okay.
I guess
So we jumped the gun. Okay, so I get what you're
Yeah,
saying.
you're completely jumping the gun. Leave the women and their own problems alone. We
Okay,
cannot
okay.
need
All
to
right.
understand.
That can be some of it, but it can be a huge part of it for us. It can be. It can be a huge part, especially in the realms of some of our emotional stresses. Yeah, but that will be delved into that in a different episode because it's a bit graphic if we're gonna go down that road. Now, of course, talking about some of the causes of stress. Now, you guys, of course, working people. We're all working people. Do you believe that some of the stress we get in our jobs, do you find any amount of it unnecessary? We have to speak the truth here because people love.
No, a whole heap of it is unnecessary. A whole heap of
You
it.
know where we used to work.
I mean,
A lot of it.
it's unnecessary because we have a topic here talking about balance or being healthy or whatever. There's some amount of stress that I really and truly believe is just too much. I mean, I'm not using exact things, but if you know for a fact there's an easier process to do things to not put stress on your employees, why is it that most people here or even around the world just decide to let's go against that? Let's stress them out instead. Let's keep them in check. Do you believe that stressing your employees out is what keep them in check? Do you not believe that that's actually what causes them to leave?
Well, it depends because some of these policies or procedures that are adhered to are industry standards. Doesn't make it right. Some of them aren't if nor buts nor maybes, right? They're a must do. And then in our line of work at one point, and still is mine in terms of customer service and business processing,
Right.
it also rely upon the clients to whom you are serving. So sometimes you will have your bosses wanting to advocate for your well-being and for changes in processes that would see to the lessening of the stress that it is causing, and the clients are just not seeing it their way. A little bit of stress at work does keep you in check. You don't want people thinking that they're on vacation. You don't want people becoming complacent either. So the stresses of like targets to be met, it does drive performance. So it's to find that balance.
Why call that stress and not motivation?
It's not necessarily motivation, especially when the odds are against you. So in my current situation, I'm not finding it to be a motivation at all.
Okay.
Right. We're in that persons are in an economic crunch with COVID still doing its rounds, and it being, summer coming. Persons are home, more persons are home. Persons are now prioritizing their vacations over paying their bills. They're also prioritizing feeding their children, who see when they are eating 24/7, yamming down their house, over paying their bills. And so when I contact you regarding your continued loyalty and wanting to retain your business for the client for which I work, and you're giving me empty promises, or you're letting me know that you just cannot meet your commitment, it's stressing me out as well. So you're stressed, I'm stressed, everybody's stressed. But what happens thereafter is that the business is saying, you guys are not meeting your targets, and they're giving us new campaigns and new ways to go about doing things, but there's no added compensation. There is no motivation. There is no thank you for the work that you are doing. There is just master standing up over you with the whip, lynching you, letting you know that you're failing and we need you to do better, because if the business is not generating enough income, if there's too much churn happening, then you all are going to be out of a job. Now that's very stressful.
And you can definitely hear that in his entire
Yeah,
statement.
man, you could
Through the
hear
entire
how
statement, you can hear the level of stress just building as he spoke.
Right, and I'm celibate, so it's not helping either.
wow,
Oh no!
wow, you just drop that in there. I mean, it does
Like
make
a
it a
bomb.
bit worse when. But we
Yeah.
even so, he may be saying that being celibate adds to it. While some people would say being in a relationship may add to it too. But again, that's a different kind of conversation right there. Right now, of course, speaking about some of the causes. So I guess when it becomes burdensome and not fulfilling, that's when it becomes stress. Is that basically what you're saying then, Josh?
That's when it becomes bad stress.
Bad stress. So yeah, bad and good
releasing of
stress.
force.
All right. So from your statement just now, I would get that bad stress is stress that is unnecessary, and the good stress would have been the type of stress that brings forward positive fruition. Is that correct? All right. So from my standpoint, no, because I would definitely understand that, because that is the realm in which I operate. I believe that you do need stress to be able to move forward. You do need stress to be able to develop rather. For me per se, stress in my life, of course, has different forms. But I have realized that through stress, like I've spoken in at least 5 episodes before, not being able to properly manage your stress brings about a level of anxiety that can become uncontrollable, with you having to depend on things to keep you calm. Since realizing that was not the right way to do things, I found out a way to properly combat stress, and that's something I would love to share here. Now, as cliche as it sounds, some level of stress is able to affect you because of the mindset that you have. And I've realized that when you allow for things to bother you in a certain type of way, it somewhat changes how you see it. For instance, if I am driving on the road and I happen to end up with a flat tire, I come out of the car and I say, God, why me? I said, why me? But why could I not see it like this, right? It's a good thing that the tire burst open, because it's good that it happened here and now, so I'll be able to fix it rather than it becoming a problem while I'm driving that could potentially cost me my life. I choose to try to see the greater positive in even the biggest negative situation, because I do realize that as humans, we cling to negativity very easily, and we cling to that and we relish in it. For me, I have found out that through trying to see the positives within the negative, it essentially has allowed me to alleviate much of my stress, or at least not be bothered so much by it to the point where I may be having a migraine, etc. Right? Now, for me, that would come under the importance of it. So for somebody like myself, because doing business and marketing, having a certain level of stress allows me per se to think. And for every job I've ever had before, they've always had this qualification about being able to work in a high stressful environment, even though I believe what they meant to put down was a highly crazed environment. I don't think it was highly stressful. Because if I'm being honest, I'm a hard worker, and some of those places I worked before, they were just nonsense. Absolute nonsense. The stress was completely unnecessary. It was almost always geared towards people they were trying to please that could not be pleased, and persons that wanted to turn humans into robots. I think sometimes we stress ourselves out because we have this idea that we are supposed to be working like machines, even though our body keeps on reminding us, annoyingly so, that no, we are not. And it reminds us in a way of us getting anxiety, getting sick, and all manners of foolishness. Those are the ways it reminds us that hey, you're not a machine, right? But from you guys' standpoint, right? How would you say you welcome stress into your life? How would you say you effectively manage it?
All right, so I just wanted to chime in terms of what you had just said.
Mhm.
Um, Whenever I see being able to work in a highly stressful environment as being added in the description, um, I always just think cotton field right there. And the other thing that I also think is this is going to mean that there's a change. Changes are going to occur as frequent as I do change my underwear, right? And that some of these changes will leave back skid marks
Oh
because
God.
it's just complete
Oh my
rubbish.
God.
It's unnecessary, right? Uh, but this is the life that I'm going to have to go through. And then I also consider or weigh whenever I see that whole highly stressed environment. The next question is, how much are you going to pay me?
Right.
That's
No,
It's very important, right? If I'm going to be trading my time for money, and my time is going to be highly
to that point,
stressed,
however, I mean, continue your point.
So
Okay.
essentially, if you're going to
right?
stress me out, you need to be giving me something
No,
for
it
it.
needs to be worth it, right? It
But,
really needs
but,
to
but
Exactly.
hold
be
on, though.
worth
To
it.
that point, though, Josh, something that we'd all be familiar with, right? Sometimes, the money does not allow you to stay in that stress, right?
It doesn't help. It doesn't soften the blow. But at the end of the day, you would be having added stress knowing that I came to work and these
Hmm.
buffoons stress me out, then pay me so little that I am now stressed. I have additional stress not being able to feed myself and cover my bills. So
That's correct.
you are alleviating one stress for the next, getting a sufficient paycheck to not have the stresses of taking care of your day to day, but knowing that the better part of your day will be spent being stressed out. So
Right.
it's like a spin off, right? And the other thing in terms of how to decrease or mitigate against the stress level, I totally agree with you. An attitude of gratitude does help a lot,
Yeah.
changing your mindset, how you see things, and it's something that it doesn't happen overnight. Something that you
Right,
have,
and I'm
right?
glad you said that, though. Not mean to cut you, but I'm glad you said that. It is important that the listeners do understand that no, it does happen overnight. Because I can tell you, like I said, as humans, we cling to what is negative very easily, and we relish there. It's as easy to happen as breathing. But when you allow yourself to realize that, hey, firstly, I know it sounds like a lot of cliche, but things could always be a lot worse. It could always be a lot worse. And again, mindset not going to happen overnight, but you have to start somewhere. The minute you realize you're able to run up onto this type of field that we're talking about, you realize that the world around you start to change. Rather than you saying, okay, why did it rain today? Say, oh my God, the place was so hot. Jeez. You understand? Why not try to see it that way instead? Why cling to what is negative? Because the truth be told, the situation is already happening. So why make it worse? Why try to make it worse? Like
But
you said, just having an attitude of gratitude.
and a way of building that or getting into that sort of mindset would be an exercise of ending, if not starting, at least ending each of your day by thinking, reflecting, and writing down three things for which you are grateful for.
Right.
I find it to be, once you start doing things like that, it forces you to really think, because of course the whole tire experience, I've had that experience, and I have been driving for a while, but I don't know how to change a tire. I don't think I want to even learn. And
It's
people are going to
easy
judge
though.
me. And yeah, sure. Whatever.
Nobody can be. Whoever is judging you, they can't pull a tire off either.
That's fine.
I am judging him, and
That
that
is
is in the
okay.
time. So
I'm very happy
let's
for you.
not.
I'm very happy for
I
you.
tell you
Going
what,
to
Josh,
be the judge,
I tell you what,
the
Josh.
jury,
I tell you
and
what.
the
I
executioner.
tell you what, Joshua.
My head is on the block.
I
Go
tell you
ahead.
what, Josh. I tell you what. Whoever is judging you still is yet to please a woman. But continue. Yeah, man.
That is
continue
a
with
lie.
it.
I know that you wouldn't have allowed that one to slide.
You don't want me to drag the evidence in here.
Yeah. No, we don't
I'm
want
just
to talk
saying.
about-
I am
I'm
just
trying
saying.
to be holy, gentlemen. Let's keep this PG.
Let's keep it PG.
Matter of fact, let's
G.
just keep PG, right? Let's
Keep
G,
it G.
general.
Keep
Let's
it general.
G.
Keep it general.
So
But
I-
right, you were saying about the tire incident. You know.
I had that incident happening on the road, coming home, and it was in the night as well. And it was a little alarming, because I heard the loud sound, and then I felt the vehicle swaying.
Right.
Because if you know me, you know that my foot is not the lightest on the accelerator, and so I caught myself at the moment, and I had planned was to go out of town the following morning to do a delivery. I'm saying to myself, it's a good thing that this happened now. And there was a service station right a couple of seconds away. So it burst in the right vicinity. I could easily have pulled in and gotten the tire changed. Never had to worry about trying to jack up the car myself. And I was good to go to St. Thomas the following morning. And you know the roads.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
If my tire had gone at that point,
Yeah. Yep.
that could have been problematic.
Very much problematic.
Yeah, so instead of stressing out myself and complaining about why the tire have to burst and all the rest of it, I think I was more grateful than anything else. Being able to have been so close to being able to just pull in, getting it changed, calling my mechanic nonetheless to be there with me.
You know what's so funny about what you said though? Some persons would see that and say, but why would I not be grateful? But I am telling you, still have persons who would complain and say,
still have persons
even though I'm right there, but me not have no money right now. And
no, my first initial thing was to complain. A matter of fact, I hissed my teeth. After I realized what happened, I said, but Mr. Stop, man.
Yeah.
And I had to stop. I had to
Yeah.
stop and say, but say, you're the one ungrateful bastard.
Exactly, man. There's
Yeah?
so many things that could have gone wrong here. The radiator could have stopped working, The engine could have break down altogether. All four tires could have been burst. It could have been a whole lot worse. It could have been a whole lot worse. You said something about how write down three
Oh
things.
my god, and you're the
that
one
you're-
saying not to cling to negativity.
Not what?
Never mind.
Okay.
No, I heard about clinging to negativity. Always you say if you don't have anything positive, anything of substance to contribute to the conversation, keep your mic muted. Yeah? And don't let me come over there have to drape up the shirt.
Don't let me come over there after slash your 4 tires and see what you do. You have to call somebody again.
Well, where I am right now, I don't mind staying. I'm in the countryside. It's cool and nice. I have excellent company. So you'll be doing me a favor. I will just call into work and let them know that this maniac came and slashed all my tires. I'm afraid of my,
Okay, so
losing my life.
I
that's a
don't
good
like the
excuse.
idea of being called a maniac because then they might misinterpret and think that I'm probably an ex or something. So please say
Oh
a
my
very
gosh. So how that come
mentally
in?
affected friend of yours slashed my four tires. That would be much
Wow.
better.
But my ex is not a maniac.
They don't know this.
Well, okay, fair enough. I'll
Right.
not go down that road with you. Fine. Let's
But
get back on
but
track.
Josh said you should write down three things you're grateful for. For some persons who are listening to this podcast right now, I want to extend on that idea because there's something I found out from doing it myself, right? You can write down something that you're grateful for every day of the year. A lot of people tend to witness a lot of depression around the time of New Year's or New Year's Eve. You take that jar of everything you've written down for every single day in the previous year and you read everything you're grateful for or what you improved upon. You'd be so surprised to realize how much it boosts your internal serotonin just by reading all those notes to yourself. That's one way to effectively handle how you see yourself because sometimes the outward appearance that we have based on our own mindset can sometimes depress us and cause us stress as well. But when we're able to remind ourselves from a different standpoint, because I don't know if you've ever reread some of your messages and realized how some may be incoherent and some might be coherent, some you're proud of and some you're not. But you do realize, when you're reading back some things that you believe you've contributed in a positive light, it gives you some level of pride. I don't know if you've ever experienced that before, but that's one way you can effectively manage because some people they get stresses from just the way they see themselves, which I guess is some form of either I don't know if it's physical or emotional or mental. It's one of those
No,
things.
I totally understand that because sometimes when I look down and see my stomach resting in my lap,
Oh my
I
gosh.
am stressed out. I am wondering
Exactly. Some people feel
why.
that way. Some people
Right.
feel that way. Some people feel, but you see, before you think about, all right, this is the worst thing ever. You could have been 500 pounds.
No, I don't think it's the worst thing ever. I don't. Some persons will tell me what I found to have happened to me thrice this past week is people asking me when is the due date, and no, I don't find it funny, not in the least bit. And if these are people, of course, who are close to me because they know that
Of
if
course.
I
I
don't
mean,
rap with you
exactly.
a
Of
certain
course.
way, I will line you up and dress you down with the love of Christ.
The love
Right?
of God.
Right. So, but even with that, I'm looking at myself and saying, yeah, I might have been packing, in the midsection, have only one ab, but I'm still in good health, fairly good
Right.
health.
Right.
The little weight has, depending on which angle you look at me from, I actually look better than when I look at my slender, tender self. Drawdown kind of thing. Life has been agreeing with me. Now that's no excuse to get swabby, but in the same breath, I don't look bad. I don't look bad. So
And
it
it's good
depends
to
on
remind yourself of that. It's good to remind
yeah.
yourself of that. Some persons are, as they call them, skinny minis, and they're very sick. They're very sick. They're very sick because they may have body dysmorphia, anorexia nervosa. Some of these illnesses they may have because they stress themselves out on their appearance. Most men do not do that for obvious reasons. We don't feel the need to be doing all this titivating, as you call it. And so I'm not saying that some of us don't witness the stress because, of course, we still do experience some level of body dysmorphia, which is why most of us tend to want to go to the gym but may not be. But that's a different story in its entirety, right? It's all about trying to see more positive rather than negative. And you looked at it from saying, well, depending on what angle, I mean, I'm not emaciated, right? I'm not a cow, right? But I'm not a celeristic either. I'm pretty much healthy.
well,
You're being thankful
when
for what you know.
If I think of myself looking at slender, that would stress me out. That certainly will stress me out. That boy is my
And
other
on
man.
the flip
Draw
side of
down
that,
like
I'm quite
them
fine with how I look.
malnourished picnic.
I mean, in all honesty, I think Alex's physique is based on his metabolism, and that's fine. I would not want to be as slim as Alex either. I would not want
Yeah,
to.
I really wouldn't.
That's not for me. That's not for me. I the weight I wanted to lose, I have now lost it. So I'm okay with how I look now, definitely. But in terms of being this, more slimmer individual, that's not for me. Mm-mm. I believe that if you're supposed to be somebody that's to be a chargeable individual, I mean, you can understand that however you want to. You must bring up some level of body mass, and I don't want to be swatted like a mosquito. I wouldn't want that. So
I know what he's doing still.
the
Because if I
lightweight
were, hmm?
the lightweight thing is not for me. It's not for me at all. But
If I were
mhm.
bulky in terms of like muscle mass and six pack and all the rest of it, I would be too full of myself.
Oh
So
gosh.
no, the Lord knows, and I know within my own self that if I felt comfortable taking my shirt off at the beach and just I know
It's,
that I
it's the end
chiseled
of it.
and thing,
It's the end of
that would
it.
be the end of the world. Because
Hence why they
as
made you look like a fat chipmunk.
yeah, that's
Wow.
fine.
Thanks for the
That's
vote of
fine.
confidence. It was very lovely
Thank you
coming from
kindly.
you. Very lovely coming from you.
Because some ladies actually want a chipmunk, right? And whoever it is, in due course, we will
Course,
find each
you're
other.
absolutely right. That's no joke, That's actually true.
Yeah.
Some
Because
people actually do prefer men with big
yeah,
bellies. They
stomachs
do.
are the new thing now. I
Yes,
thought that
it says upkeep of
beards
needing to
were.
abs and whatever. It doesn't. Not everybody wants that, You have to
No,
just
and they
know who
say
to
it's
talk to.
comfy. I was with somebody that back in my formative years when I was much younger, that told me she she don't like men with abs. She wants them to cuddle, and that just feels too rock hard. And so, all right, no problem.
Right
And
now, y'all are
it's a new
stressing
thing.
me out with this
All right.
conversation.
So that's fine. You are always free to leave, or remain
Really don't
silent
want
while
to.
the big
Really
men
don't
talk.
want to be thinking about Josh's gut right now.
He's not talking about. He's talking about
What
being
is
comfortable,
that?
not being stressed out over physical appearance. Remember, you're
And none
talking
of
about.
us
Listen,
are.
listen. No, no. But hold on, Alex.
None
Hold
of
on.
us here
Listen,
are.
listen. I
So,
am not, but I am telling you, it's a real thing. As he said, looking
it
down
is.
and
It's
seeing
a
the belly
very
in your
real
life.
thing.
It's a very, very real thing. Some people, they will do things to themselves just because they do. It isn't about what people are telling them. It isn't about that. It's about what they're telling themselves. And we're trying to bring about so our listeners can understand. Just have an attitude of gratitude. Yes, he may be, as he so claims, have his belly in his lap. I don't think it's that bad because I've seen Josh before.
No
But
man,
it's
no,
him.
I'm
It's his
serious.
opinion.
No,
It's his
I saw
opinion.
a
It's his opinion.
recording just the other day that we had an ensemble group that I played. And when I look at it's when I look at the recording, I said, no, something needs to be done, sir. It don't look good. It's literally
Eh,
resting in my lap, not too far away from my lap. That cannot work. But I
I'm
also don't
sure
want
not
to
over
lose all
200
of it.
pounds. I'm sure not
Nah, I
over
don't.
200
Last
pounds.
time I checked, I was
Yeah.
170 something.
So look at that. Look at that. Look at that. If I was 170 right now, I'd literally be a whisper.
Yeah, but I'm shorter than you.
Yeah, so I mean, it works. You're fine. Your BMI is perfect. But of course, the first thing, alright, so trying to find a fix about what stress is. Alright, so guys, you were there, hassling Alex earlier about, his use for vaping to, bring some of the stress down. What are some of the ways that, Alex, definitely, what are some of the ways that you effectively manage your stress? It can be anything because remember, we're talking to our listeners, we're having them hear these stuff, we're trying to give these people pointers. How do you effectively manage stress?
As far as effectively managing it goes, well, it depends on the type of stress that it is. So if
Mm-hmm.
it's something like, if it's work,
Right.
that's completely stressing me out. It's something like, taking a breather, going out, doing something different, just getting my mind off of it for a bit and coming back to it. If it's relationship wise, I think most likely for me, as I said earlier, talk therapy. I might call up the guys, we might all go out, we have a long chat about it, we chat about all sorts of stuff, and then, it's like everything is just reset. all of that pent up stress, anger, everything that's there is just completely gone. A lot of people would probably say, a lot of people would probably say, they'd probably drink, but I find, all right, you sitting and drinking alone when you're trying to manage your stress don't really help, because the drinking is going to last for the moment, but when it's done, I mean, you're still just going to have that stress pent up in the back of your head. You have to find some way to get it out. So that's what I said. Talk therapy for me. That's the best thing. Chatting with the
So
guy.
okay, so talking about like what may have happened is a way to de-stress. Some people do that. What about you, Josh? How do you effectively manage some of the stress that you go through? How do you do that?
In addition to changing my mindset to
Mm-hmm.
an attitude of gratitude, trying
Right.
to see the positive in the situation itself. Um, Another way that I process and handle my stress is to recognize that I am not God. I am not in control of everything. I certainly cannot control people, even though sometimes I believe that I can. The manipulative side of me or the influential side of me would think that I can get people to do whatever it is that I want to do. Letting go of that need for control, turning things over to the Lord in prayer, believing in faith that He's going to work everything out if I only just trust Him, does take a lot of my stress away. Because if you really think of it, a lot of people have a great amount of stress coming from their own expectations for themselves and that of the expectations people have for them. The parents, the peers, and things. And they get to the point where they have these checklists and what they need to achieve, or the morals and norms that society puts on them, pressure them into, and they get all stressed out about it. If I'm having an issue, something I can't deal with, if I don't have a confidant or somebody that have been there, done that I can share, offload on, I go into my restroom, because that's where my devotional time happens, and I offer up a word of prayer, and I try and find something else to do. Another de-stressor for me is playing music. So I grab my trumpet or I go by the church and I bang on the keyboard until I've found that sense of peace, that's coming back to my center. Or I call one of my friends and we talk about nonsense and laugh. And, when I get to laughing, nothing good about it. It does help releasing the tension, because much of our stress have to do with tension. And that's why people go and get massages and things. I've never gone to a masseuse, but that's one of the reasons why persons would go and get a facial or get a full body massage, and they would say, "Oh, here is tense and there's tense," because stress does cause for physical tension, even when it's emotionally inflicted.
Okay. I can agree to a lot of those stuff you just said. I can. For myself, of course, like I said before, in I think a few episodes back, stress management is very important. Absolutely very important. For myself, because majority of my days I feel a lot of stress, and I found out over time some of the things I used to alleviate pressures within my head. Watching old cartoons, no matter how many times I've watched them before, they seem to always bring me back to basic to have a more clearer mindset. Cooking expositorily. And by that, what do I mean? Doing something step by step to achieve some level of success. It's a way I use to free my mind from whatever I may be thinking about. Or whatever is actually on my mind, I try to find a solution for it. If it is something that is not man-made or something I'm not able to control, I let it go. That may be easier said than done, but the truth be told, you said something earlier about you not being God and you not being able to control people. If the truth be told that, hey, like I said before, I think it was our episode about suicide. If I know for a fact I'm not able to save somebody from themselves, I need to just let it go and let whatever happens happens, because I have no control over that. I find out that most of the things that we stress out over are things that we have no control over, things we honestly can't change. And some of the things that we actually can change, instead of choosing to change it, we stress out over why we're not doing something to change it. And I think those are some of the things we need to change about our mindset, to let some things go or attack things we need to attack. Other things I use to de-stress myself are things like, performing, playing the piano, doing anything that brings me any form of joy, no matter what crisis I could be in. Because I happen to realize that life is very short. It makes no use I spend most of my days here stressing out and worrying over things that I cannot change. I rather to let them go. Because I could die in my sleep the very same night, and guess what I would die leaving? All that stress behind. I think it's best to just live it up while I'm alive, If the stress is gonna be there, it's gonna always be there. Either I'm gonna deal with it or not. That's just it. And having that type of mindset, I don't say stress for very long, because I find an outlet. You guys just spoke about, speaking to your friends and shooting the breeze and talking shop and gallivanting, using laughter as the best medicine. These are things that a lot of people need to foster. Some people don't like the idea of believing that, they need to be able to leave the house and go and hang out with their friend, because they find that to be nonsensical, or it's not making them money, as some people put it. But there has to be a healthy balance between
wallowing in your own sorrows won't help at all.
Yeah, it won't help. It definitely won't help. And then you deciding to reach out at the last minute, saying about how, I tried to reach out to you. No, the time was always there. And best believe, before you say, I don't have any time for that, someone showed me once that majority of the day that we use, there's almost always 6 hours that's left over that we don't use. It's 6 hours that we think we don't have, that we don't use. And I'm here to tell people listening to this podcast that you always have time. Because here on earth, the only thing we do have is time. When your time is up, you're gone. But you will always have time. And always remember that no one is never that busy. But that's a different story for another time. Just always make time for yourself. Once you're able to do so, stress cannot find a way to try to kill you. But of course, our next topic here is striking a healthy balance. Just to kick that off right here, I will say this. Yes, definitely. Without a doubt, you are to welcome stress into your life. I welcome stress into my life every day because it forces me to grow where I'm comfortable. People will always say, okay, you don't grow in comfort. And this is factual. You only grow where there's discomfort. And discomfort does bring stress. In order to properly overcome whatever stress you're going through, you have to be willing to accept it. The more you fight against it, the worse it becomes. You have to just know that, hey, this is gonna happen, and I need to keep up a resistance against this to build. Very much like how
when you say it like that, it sounds a lot like addiction.
I mean, well, I'm not addicted to stress. I mean,
I'm just saying, no. When you say it like that, when you said
that could be true, but I'm just saying, in terms of, you have to welcome this. You have to welcome it. I'm telling you, no, you can't move through life without encountering some level of stress. The person who you are now was marveled by the chaos that you went through, by the many storms you withstood, by the many fires you walked through. That is who you are right now. And if you feel that you're inadequate, maybe you haven't gone through enough stress. You need to welcome this. And also you need to welcome that healthy balance of being able to take care of yourself and manage that stress very well. Like, for instance, some of the things I said. Like I said, I'm a simple person. Watching a simple old movie can set me at ease. That may not be the same for other people. Some people like smoking. I would not recommend that. Some persons like drinking. I still would not recommend that either, because over time that becomes a destructive quality, and it can become a social lubricant for you, like discussed in our previous episode. You can check the link above the screen to listen in on our episode, right? For it to become an addiction. We don't need to be using crutches to be able to have us pass through stress. There are ways we have within our mental sanctum to be able to work things out, to definitely find a way to effectively manage this in a healthy manner. You just have to know exactly what your internal, in quotations, poison is. You have to know exactly what makes you tick or what makes you relax. You have to definitely find that balance, because it is just as important as you being able to go out there and stress yourself out. It is definitely as important to keep your mental health in check. And just so you know, if you're very stressed out, you are not mentally healthy. So if you've deemed yourself out there saying, "Oh no, I'm definitely of sound mind." If you're a stressed out person, your mind is not sound. So there are many crazy people walking around us right now. A lot of them. They just think they're not crazy because they're not in an asylum dressed in all white in a straight jacket. But that's not what crazy looks like. Crazy looks like a call center, but that's another discussion for another time. Right. Um Question to you guys though. How do you relax yourselves? How do you formulate a relaxation sanctum? How do you do that? What are some of the
When you
things you do
say
to
that,
relax yourself? It doesn't matter what it is, just ask them where you need to relax.
when you say that, I have to say relaxing. Alright, so relaxing for me, I'm laid up on the beach, soaking in some sun,
Right.
some sea breeze, very nice ice cold bottle of Red Stripe beer, fish festival, and I can just relax the entire day because my phone is off, nobody calling me, nobody to say, hey, Mister, you have this to be done, or you have this project that needs to be completed. No clients calling. It's just me, myself, and I. Or I'm laid up in bed watching some Netflix, chips in the middle, some wine, and I can get a nice back massage when I feel like it. Yeah,
I
that's
see.
relaxation.
I was actually waiting on that, and I was expecting back massage. I was expecting another thing that start with B,
Yeah.
but not back massage. I think you had wanted to say it, but you were
He
just
fixed
being
it up. He kept
cautious.
it G-rated.
Well,
Back
as much
massage.
as she's good at that,
Uh-huh.
she's a perfectly good masseuse as well.
I'm
So
happy for you.
yeah,
Best of both worlds. Look at you.
Look at you.
yeah. I'm
What about
yet.
you, Josh? How do you find reasons to or ways to relax? How do you do that?
I do like the beach. I do like nature, but given the current circumstances, and also where it's not feasible for me to get to said beach or nature, exploration of nature every day, and I do need to de-stress each and every day. Outside of my own devotional time, when I get home from work, people who I live with know that I'm going to kick my shoes off. I probably won't take off all of my clothes. Get to my chair, pull up my computer, get my dinner from the microwave, get some juice or water, and watch either Criminal Minds or The Mentalist, or Grey's Anatomy. Something that I don't want to be disturbed. Don't message my phone. Don't
Is
ask
there a
me.
reason? Is there a reason why you prefer those type of TV shows?
I
Do you
love
think?
the human mind, the behavior of human beings, and in terms of like the mentalists and Criminal Minds or any CSI, NCIS or anything like that. And for Grey's Anatomy, a little drama, a little excitement, a little soap opera is always good for the soul. So and it has to do with the body as well in terms of surgeries and so you learn a lot from those shows, like the Good Doctor, the Resident.
OG, you said it before I did.
Yeah,
Okay,
so
you said, but you see, the thing is though, minor segue, guys. I mean, you're listening. You might as well continue, right? For that particular series, it stresses me out, and I'm gonna tell you why it stresses me out. And it's so good that we're talking about this on the topic of stress, because I want so much for Sean and Leah's relationship to work. Whenever he stresses her out, I feel every episode this might be the one where she breaks up with him, and I just don't want to see that.
It has
I,
been working. She had a
but it has
miscarriage.
been, it has been, it has been working so far, definitely. But I'm just always on edge with them because he's very hard to deal with. He is very hard to deal with. You understand? Absolutely hard to
But
deal with.
Leah
But
is equally hard to deal with because she's extremely
to some,
selfish.
you're right. You're right
So
about that.
I empathize with Sean, and I think that at this point, really, both of them are on the same level when it comes on to difficulty because he's even though he has autism and it acts him,
Right.
he doesn't act normal. You know exactly
Right.
what to expect. He is very predictable.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
extremely predictable, unlike her.
That's a
So
good point.
and that's why I
That's a
watch
good point.
things like that. And whilst I'm watching, my brain is not just for entertainment. I'm processing these things, and that's why I
No,
don't
man,
watch.
I learn a lot too. Right, you're so right about that because when I'm watching The Good Doctor, if I'm watching something like House, or if I'm watching something like Young Sheldon or whatever it is, I don't particularly want to be distracted then because they speak about a lot of things that are very mentally stimulating. It's not just the behavior or the drama of it. Like when they talk about surgeries or whatever the case might be, there's always something to learn. There's always something to learn. And I've always been fascinated by that. And through having that level of fascination to want to cling to a healthy addiction to a TV show because come on, whatever addiction I'm getting from the good doctor is not something that will harm me in the end. It is teaching it taught me so many things about how we see things and why should we react certain ways to certain things or how selfish are human beings really, and for you to point out that just know that hey, Leah is seeing this type of way, I can now see where you're coming from. Whereas from one perspective I could have been looking at it differently, but like I said, always learning something new, so that distraction needs to not be there. But of course, that is one way I definitely relax. So I look forward to every Monday. I watch my episode of The Good Doctor always, no matter if it is on the go
Hence,
or wherever it is. Yeah, definitely have
hence
to.
why Gregory House was always my jam.
No, Gregory House. Gregory House is the difference between Gregory House and Sean is
Oh no 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 no! I'm just saying. House
Greg is
is
just a dick,
always my jam.
yeah,
Leave it
yeah,
at that.
a
yeah.
cheesy body
Oh Jesus Christ! I thought this was
with
G-rated.
a limp,
I really want you to leave House alone, you know. Leave House
erectile
alone.
dysfunction.
And the funny
Hugh
thing about it is that
Laurie was the
Hugh
best
Laurie
actor.
is that's totally not what he's like, you know. So he really
He's not, but
not
that's
saying
the
that Freddie
best
Highmore is
actor for that.
yeah.
I mean, did you not see him in Stuart Little and Stuart
Of
that?
course,
Like,
some people never
completely different
realize.
people.
Some persons never realize it's the same person. You have to be looking to realize it's the same person. But yeah, But that's going back to the point of how people relax and wanting to decompress and stuff like that. These are some of the things that we definitely do to our listeners listening in. Don't be afraid to delve into some proper TV shows. Keep yourself not like a recluse, but undisturbed to be able to sit within your thoughts because as quiet as it's kept, when watching any of these TV shows that I just discussed or what Josh just discussed, sometimes to set your mind to defragment because that's exactly what I do while I'm watching them. I allow myself to go to a different place where I can exist within this realm that is peaceful to me. And I think a lot of people need to be able to matriculate to that over some period in their life because if you're not doing that, you must be really wounded up. And that's bad for you. That's really bad for you. You should really look into. Mm-hmm.
That's why I am careful with whom I watch television with, and even when I'm in a relationship, I am careful of letting you in on the show
Yeah,
that I
man.
watch. When you
Because
come with the
sometimes they can bring
nonsense,
they can bring some form of
it
mindset that
takes away from it.
it might even make you lose interest in them. Not
Yeah,
saying that you're clean.
no, no,
Not
no,
say,
no. I kind of wonder if her brain was put in back way. Why is it that Why would you come at it from that angle?
yeah, like why
So
would you see it that way? Like, but then again, this is not about us pushing our ideas onto people. Okay, it's
No,
totally an opinion, but
that's certainly not the case. But don't spoil it for me.
don't do that.
No,
Don't do that.
And don't tell me what happened before I watch it. Because I don't watch them
Oh my
on
god, I
TV.
hate that. I
Oh.
hate that.
Yeah, man,
I haven't
spoiling
turned on
things.
TV
Yeah.
in months. I haven't sat and watched television in months at all. I can't deal with the ads. I cannot deal with the news. I also don't want to sit in the living room either. So I just wait until it's uploaded to one of those free movie sites because I ain't paying no subscription. I'm trying to
He
clear my
didn't
debt.
say anything like that, guys. He watches
Uh,
Netflix.
I don't watch Netflix. I'm not gonna lie to you. I used to have a Netflix subscription. It was not being used fully. People that use it more than I did,
Wow.
and so I canceled it as with all of my other subscriptions. So my Prime membership, I'm not buying things from Amazon every month. I cut down all of my expenses that are unnecessary. Just started to cut away.
Not bad. It's cut them right off. But like I said, these are definitely some ways that we can definitely learn to effectively manage our stress. I do hope that our listeners that listen tonight do found some level of insight into effectively managing their stress. And of course, you can always sound off in the comment section. Please tell us your thoughts. Let us know what you're thinking. We do realize that our videos are getting a lot more views. If you've chimed in here to listen to an episode of Unpacking, please ensure you are subscribed. If you are not subscribed, it's the button right here. It's right on top of the screen, or it's somewhere
Please
around the
just
screen right here.
go
Just
ahead
subscribe.
and stress
Just,
out the
just
subscribe.
right. Just press the subscribe button right out. We really welcome all those subscribers, and we will be doing a giveaway once we get to 100 subscribers. Won't be telling you what that giveaway is, but we do keep our word. Just like we're here every Monday. Of course. Do you guys have any closing statements on stress? Anything you want to stress these viewers or listeners on
Well,
right now?
well, you have already done same. You guys tell them to stress out the subscribe button.
Yes, man. Stress the subscribe button, and don't forget to like and share as well. But the subscription, yeah, we definitely appreciate that. Not more, but still the same amount, definitely. But lovely conversation as usual. I hope we are all home on this probably less stressful Monday, not being Garfield, and keeping ourselves safe. No COVID-19, no sickness. I hope we're all looking up for Tuesday that's coming up tomorrow. And of course, from me, Ryan, Josh, and Alex in the studio, thank you for listening. Enjoy the rest of your